I, 20F, love my boyfriend, 20M, but often feel like we need to break up. Why do I feel like this? What do I do? I recently posted this same post on a different subreddit, but I need all the advice I can get, so I apologize. Please excuse my formatting. I'm really tired and emotional and don't care too much about formatting. I'm sorry. I have been with my boyfriend since we were 17, and we are 20 now, together for 3 years. He's my first serious boyfriend, and I'm his first as well. I love and care for him a lot. He's my best friend. He's never hurt me, never done anything wrong. By the book, he's the perfect boyfriend. We do have a couple flaws as like any other relationship, majority of them being because of me though. I'm going to indulge in this because I feel like it might be important. Sorry if this is TMI, one of them being very little intimacy. Cuddling and stuff like that is often and abundant, but anything sexual I don't take interest in. Whereas he does, and he misses it. I don't think I'm fully sexually attracted to him, but then again, I don't really know what it feels like to be completely sexually attracted to someone, and to want sex. In June, I broke up with him because of the feelings I will explain below, but we got back together a couple days after because I felt like I should give things another try. After we had gotten back together, things were really looking up for us. I felt happy and optimistic about our future. During this time it was also mid-pandemic freak out, so we only had each other to talk to and hang out with. Turn time back to more recent, I started college in September in a city 2 hours away from our hometown, so we are pretty much long distance now. I only get to see him on the weekends if he's not working. Here's my problem: whenever I'm at college, I feel like a completely different person. I feel new and improved almost. I'm happy and independent and things are great. I feel happier than at home. But the feelings I have for my boyfriend also change. I get this gut feeling when I'm away from him that our relationship just isn't right. It almost feels like a childhood toy that you just stop playing with because you've grown out of it, or like a piece of a puzzle that just doesn't fit. It feels so irritating and so overwhelming at the same time. And this feeling is so strong, almost nauseating. Feel like I want to end the relationship. I have cried many nights in my apartment because I feel the need to end things, but for no reason at all. We haven't had any fights. He often texts me to check in with me, he cares for me, it's nothing that he has done, etc. There is no reason for me to be feeling this way, and it almost makes me feel evil. Sometimes I even catch myself feeling butterflies for other people and I like it. Shit, it makes me feel absolutely terrible and sinful admitting that and typing it out. Now, when I come back to my hometown and talk to him, the feelings subside. Not completely, but a bit, and it leaves me feeling incredibly confused and distraught. I dip my toes into the water of loving him again and it's comforting. Although I can still sense that feeling of wanting to leave at the very back of my head, and it looms over me like a dark cloud and it doesn't leave. I've felt this for over a month now. It's extremely infuriating. And so I feel confused. I love him a lot, and care for him. He's my best friend. So why do I still feel this way? But then I think about the good times we've had, and the good times we could have, and it just confuses me even more. I want to leave him, but at the same time I don't. I'm happy but also not. It makes absolutely no sense to me and I don't know what to do. This is the same feeling that I experienced when I broke things apart in June. So the fact that it is reoccurring is very maddening. I know it's very unrealistic for an internet stranger to be able to tell me exactly what I'm feeling and what I should do about it, but at this point I'm exhausted and constantly upset, and this gloom I'm feeling is starting to affect my schooling and mental health. If what I'm feeling is gross and evil, please don't kill me in the comments. I can't control my feelings, and I've never been in another relationship before. Too long didn't read. When I'm away from my boyfriend, I feel an extreme nauseating need to break up with my boyfriend without any reason, and it's killing me from the inside. I don't know why I feel this way, and I don't know what to do. I love him, but I wonder if we'd be better off without each other. It sounds like you want to stay with him because you feel you should, not necessarily that you want to stay with him. I ended up having a 9-year relationship with someone that I had conflicting feelings for but stayed for the sake of keeping him happy. I tried breaking up with him several times but he would talk me out of it and say I would learn to love him. This obviously did not happen and I realized by staying together it was a disservice to both of us. I also loved him but was not in love with him, and I came to realize the difference when I met my now husband. Just because he is a great person does not mean you have to stay with him, but I would look further into your feelings to see why you are having doubts. You may be growing apart, or maybe you feel there may be someone out there that may be a better match for you since he was your first love. Either way, you should be honest with him about how you feel. It may make you feel better and help with the feelings of guilt. You are not evil. Your boyfriend's not evil, either. He's just not the one. Maybe you can't understand or describe to yourself the reason, but something is clearly telling you that this relationship is wrong for you right now. That doesn't invalidate the real happiness you had with him in the past. And it doesn't mean you don't love him. Love is infinite, but maybe your love for him is more as a friend right now. Going on a break, more than a couple of days, will give you a chance to sort out your feelings and see how it feels to be apart from him. Links aren't allowed here, but there is an advice column I read that might resonate with how you are feeling. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Do a search for Dear Sugar, the Rumpus advice column number 77, the truth that lives there. Leaving because you want to doesn't mean you pack your bags the moment there's strife or struggle or uncertainty. It means that if you yearn to be free of a particular relationship and you feel that yearning lodged within you more firmly than any of the other competing and contrary yearnings are lodged, your desire to leave is not only valid, but probably the right thing to do, even if someone you love is hurt by that. And I just want to give you a thumbs up for having the courage to post your thoughts even though you are worried we will criticize you for them. Your thoughts are not gross or evil or sinful. They're a normal part of living your best life and acknowledging when your needs have changed. I really wish you and your boyfriend happiness in life and the power to follow the life path that is right for you. You need to follow your feelings. I've experienced this exact same thing when I was your age. I wasn't truly attracted to my BF, even though I cared about him. I would also get the nauseating feeling too. Listen to your feelings. Just because you care about someone doesn't mean you should force yourself to be in a romantic relationship with them. You are only staying with him out of familiarity. You are not truly attracted to him, and that's okay. You are not evil. You are not a bad person for feeling this way. There are billions of people on Earth. Life is too short to stay with someone who you don't want to be with. Chemistry is very important, and you don't feel that with him. You need to break up with him. I tried to force myself to love my BF in a way that I couldn't. I was wasting my time. You are still so young. You are still learning yourself and what you like. It's time to close this chapter. If you are feeling butterflies for someone else, you need to break up with him and persuade that other person. I feel almost the exact same thing. He is a lovely guy who loves me to death. It is so guilt-inducing and suffocating. I've been struggling with this for 7 months now, and I've had so many nights where I just prayed that next morning comes because the pain was unbearable. I just wanna know what to do. Can't seem to be happy with either path. It sounds like you are with him out of an obligation to him. People grow and change. It's not fair to either of you two to stay in a relationship where feelings are not mutual. You might be staying with him due to guilt or the feeling of familiarity. Change is hard, but it's a good thing. You guys are changing inside and out. I hope everything works for you. No matter what you choose to do, make sure you are being true to yourself. I, 46M, got into a fight with my wife, 43F, after I tried to convince her that my son's anxiety wasn't a personal attack. My, 46M, wife, 43F, was feeling frustrated at our son, 16M, at the supper table. They had just had a bit of a fight, and he was feeling frightened and anxious. He kept nervously tapping at his plate while eating. My wife hates noise, and this was sending her over the edge. He asks him to stop. He does not. He becomes more agitated, prompting more tapping, and my wife declares that she will no longer be able to eat dinner with the rest of the family. Why is that? I ask. Because he won't stop this. He will never stop this, even after I ask him to. It's so disrespectful. she replies. It takes a while to calm down. He's feeling anxiety about your fight, and now more anxiety about this interaction, and it's going to take him time to calm down. Suggest. But he keeps doing this. He knows I don't like the noise, and I think he has to be doing it on purpose, she says. It's a tic. He's not entirely in control right now. Recall the half-life of the autonomic nervous system. Can't just turn off emotion like that, I say. She reasserts that it's a conscious act of disrespect. Since she's asked him to stop, and he does not, then it's a personal attack. I try to point out that even though she's taking it personally, that it's not actually personal. I try an analogy. And this is when the fight started. Imagine the shoe is on the other foot, and I told you that you should just stop feeling your anxiety and get it under control. How would that make you feel? This is like that for him. He can't just stop on command. She can't believe I said this. She has a diagnosis for anxiety, and our son does not. So this is completely different. That I would be so insensitive to say that I think her anxiety is pretend, and that she can just snap out of it at any time. I didn't say that, but that's clearly how it landed for her. Am I crazy? Gave context. I presented it as a hypothetical exercise in empathy. But she insists that I'm the problem. That I'm always saying things that are hurtful and belittling. And this is just one more example in the line of awful things I've said to her. Yet another example that confirms for her that I'm autistic and our communication is fundamentally broken. Maybe I am, because I legitimately think I'm losing my grip on reality when she asserts that most people would take offense at what I said to her when I asked her to imagine what it would feel like if the shoe was on the other foot. I understand that she did, in fact, find it hurtful. But I also think that she is almost willfully missing the context. I don't believe I would have found it offensive had a friend said it to me. And I fully acknowledge that our communication is fundamentally broken. So this is what it comes to. I need a sanity check. Put yourself in these shoes and please tell me how bad I fucked up. Would you have been offended by my question? Too long didn't read. I'm having trouble communicating with my wife, and I want to know how offensive the internet thinks I was given the context. Edit on a suggestion so people don't think my kid is being a shitty teenager. When he's upset, he gets into these cognitive behavioral loops, repeated phrases, physical motions, that sort of thing. A small for instance, he'll start scratching himself until he makes his skin raw. You can physically hold his hands, rub out his fingers, speak softly to him, and that helps about half the time. The other half, he just starts tapping his foot or rubbing his face to his shoulder or something else. He gets into these loops when he gets into trouble, or more often lately, when he thinks he's going to get into trouble. And then the negative reinforcement begins. I'm trying to help him find other internal ways to soothe. Obviously these patterns aren't going to serve him well in the greater social arena or at a workplace, but it's hard to reason with an emotional overload. I'm trying to get him help for this, but I live in a country where it's terribly difficult to get a child a mental health diagnosis. So it's just me, researching my head off and trying to be a stable dad for him. I'm just going to say I think you need to do more thinking and research and possibly discussion with an actual therapist or counselor about how to de-escalate an emotional situation. Recall the half-life of the nervous system is not a winner here for actually calming anxiety and soothing emotions. You just kept trying to problem solve everything instead of actually handling all the emotions at the table. The first step of which would have been validating everyone's emotions instead of arguing with someone about what they're feeling, whether it's rational or not. I'm not saying handling such a thing is easy, but you definitely didn't handle it well. Boyfriend stops caring about me as soon as he starts going through something hard himself. Is it okay? I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for almost a year. He has a dog that's 10 years old and he means a lot to him. He's been very ill and tonight he'll have to put him down. Frown. I, as a dog owner myself, understand how horrible he must be feeling, so I have been trying my absolute hardest to be there for him whenever he needs me. Background info: I've been depressed and anorexic, with toxic abusive parents and a lot of crap going on in my life, so I'm pretty often feeling breaking down and am in need of support, and most of the time he tries to give it to me. But now that I know how much he's going through, I decided to push myself to the side for now. Don't mention the stuff I'm going through and wear this fake smile for him to not be worried about me and for me to be the source of positivity for him. So I've been doing thing for a couple weeks and breaking down on my own almost every day, but still acting like I'm alright for him because I really didn't want to burden him but to lift him up. He was often in need of support, and so he would call me, and sometimes I would literally be unable to do my assignments and go to university for 3 days straight. But I was doing all this because I wanted to make him feel better. And then one day when we were together, I dared to say that I've been feeling pretty sad. Guess what his response was? He said, how can you be so selfish? You see how much I'm going through but still keep shoving your stuff in my face. I felt really cheated on, and if it's selfish of me to expect him to be kind to be. Again, I wasn't expecting him to become my therapist, but the thing is that he's legit the only person I can turn to for comfort, so it's been really hard for me. After a while I snapped him that I'm not okay with how he was acting, that I don't deserve him getting so annoyed at me for just explaining my feelings. He snapped at me. He started yelling that I'm selfish, that I only care for myself, and that if I can't take care of neither my emotions nor his, then we should stop talking for a while and start talking again when I'm more stable. In my opinion, no matter what, partners are supposed to support each other no matter what. Also, he said that he talked to his friends about it and they say that he's right and I'm wrong. But as I realized later, he only told them that his dog is dying and I was asking for his comfort as if I don't care. But for me it is that I've been breaking down and having suicidal thoughts and still holding it back for him, and when I was slightly unable to hide my feelings I got yelled at and ended up looking like a horrible person in his friends' eyes. And the next day I was so drained and mad at him. I wasn't talking to him and I went to study and I fainted, and when I got to the hospital I was told that my heart is really weak and if I dress myself out too much, I might legit be in a lot of trouble. Now I'm just really confused about everything and I have no clue who's right and who's wrong. I feel like I really don't deserve being treated like this after all I've been doing for him, but I still understand that he is going through a lot and I can't ask for too much. What do I do? I really love him low and breaking up is not an option for me at all, so don't mention it please. Frown. He's the love of my life and I want to work on our relationship rather than end it. Too long. Didn't read. My boyfriend says it's okay for him to completely focus on himself when he is going through something and ignore my struggle completely. Whereas me, being depressed, anorexic and abused by parents daily, is constantly there for him, no matter at what cost.